إن الحمد لله تعالى نحمده ونستعين به ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله تعالى من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله تعالى فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ونبيه ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء، واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. All praise and glory be to Allah. We thank Him and we seek His help and His guidance and His pleasure and His forgiveness. And we seek protection with Allah from the evil whisperers within us and the evil consequences of our actions. For whomever Allah guides, this is a great gift that no one can take away. None can misguide that person ever. Nor can this entire world and everyone on it misguide such a person. And whomever Allah writes misguidance for, in perfect fairness, in perfect justice, the entire planet combined cannot offer guidance to this person. And we testify that no one is worthy of our worship and our devotion and our lives and our love and our obedience but Allah alone, without any partners. The true supreme king, that His Prophet Mohammad was in truth His prophet and His messenger and the best of His creation and the seal of His revelation to this world and the most beloved of the slaves of Allah to Allah. O people who have believed, have the taqwa of Allah, fear God and keep your duty to God as best as you possibly can, at all times and in all places, in the manner that He deserves. And do not die except in a state of complete and total surrender to Allah, a state of Islam, where you surrender to His laws by accepting them and trying your best to implement them. And by surrendering to His qadr, to whatever He destines, by accepting it and being patient with it and trying to be content with it. And to begin, after welcoming our brothers and sisters to yet another Jumu'ah, and we thank Allah for gathering us in His house. A blessing that no words can praise Allah enough for. We continue with the hadith of Jibreel alayhi salam, the mightiest angel that was sent to escort and to train and to protect and to advise and to communicate with the mightiest messenger, Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam. When he said to him, Ya Muhammad, O Muhammad, عِشْ مَا شِئْتَ فَإِنَّكَ مَيِّتْ. O Muhammad, live however long you want, but know that ultimately you will die. وَأَحْبِبْ مَنْ شِئْتَ فَإِنَّكَ مُفَارِقُ. And love whomever you wish, know that you will ultimately be separated from them. وَاعْمَلْ مَا شِئْتَ. And do whatever you wish, فَإِنَّكَ مَجْزِيٌّ بِهِ. Know for sure you will be reunited with it. You will be repaid with it. And now the fourth statement, Jibreel alayhi salam then went on to say to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, وَاعْلَمْ أَنَّ شَرَفَ الْمُؤْمِنِ قِيَامُهُ بِاللَّيْلِ. And know, be certain, O Muhammad alayhi salatu wa salam, that the honor, the sharaf, the nobility, the sharaf of the believer is in his standing at night, meaning in his standing in prayer at night. And so our appointment is with this sentence. His standing at night is his honor, the honor of every believer. First of all, we said that each advice is built on the advice right before it. So know that you will die, and know that you will be separated from those you love, and know that you will be reunited with the deeds you've done. And then building on that, he mentions one of the greatest deeds in all of Islam, one of the most unique, special acts of worship in all of Islam, salah, but not any salah, your salah in the middle of the night. And what's the relationship with this particular prayer and the statements before it reminding of death and its details? Our Prophet ﷺ said to us that إِنَّ هَذِهِ الْقُبُورِ مَمْلُوءَةً ظُلْمًا عَلَى أَهْلِهَا. These graves are filled with darkness. Darkness like you can't imagine. we can close our eyes and turn off our lights and see darkness. But it's not the same darkness because you know you can walk out of that room. You know you can turn the lights on. You know you can open your eyes at your own decision, at your own discretion. This is different. And one of the greatest ways to alleviate this darkness of the grave is with salah itself. As-salatu nur. Salah is a source of light. Our Prophet ﷺ told us in many instances. And dua is also light, and Quran is light. But here in this hadith he's saying, and know that you're going to meet your deeds, and the most honorable of your deeds you should be focusing on, know the honor of praying at night. Because praying at night is one of the most qualitative prayers. The prayers with the highest quality. And so they will offer you light in your grave like few other deeds ever will. This is the relationship between Qiyamul Layl and between death and the grave. Then move on to say, why was Qiyamul Layl called Sharaf? Why wasn't it just, Nur is implied, light is implied. And that's because it's connected with darkness, the grave. But why was it called Sharaf? Why is Qiyamul Layl a source of nobility? You will know when you're lowered in your graves. But it will begin here before you're lowered in your graves. You see, this dunya, there is sharaf. There are many forms of honor in this world. Money is a source of honor. Handsomeness and beauty is a source of honor. Coming from a certain family can give you honor. These are real. But in comparison, we are all riding the same airplane. Some of us are honored to ride in first class. Some of us are honored to be in the business class or the comfort class. Some of us are honored to be in economy because we can afford to be on an airplane. We all have various degrees of honor riding this airplane in this life, right? But at the end of the day, this flight means nothing till you get off and you realize who's going to get pulled into a dark room forever and who is it that's going to have their entourage waiting for them, their honor employed to them in the destination, not in the journey. And so this is true honor. Someone who honors themselves or is honored by Allah gets distinguished through having rapport with Allah, a relationship with Allah, and nothing can quite create that like Qiyamul Layl. Because Qiyamul Layl, the night prayer, this is a very special, very different kind of meeting between the slave and his Lord, that, by the way, Allah honors people with. Allah honors certain people to the degree that He is pleased with them. With what? With the honor, the prestige of being able to connect with Allah privately and have these soft, special conversations with Allah in the dark. That's how the early Muslims understood it correctly, by the way. You know, one of the early Muslims, he complained to many of them, this is reported from Al-Hasan, Al-Fudayl and others, I do everything, I'm not able to pray Qiyamul Layl. He says, I'm healthy, I go to sleep early, I put the water right next to me so I don't need to go outside and get it from a faraway place. I can't get myself to pray the night prayers. He said, your sitting by daytime has held you down by nighttime. Allah will not allow you to get up. I can get up for anything. I don't see it as a burden to catch a flight. I don't see it, I have to do it. But this one I can't pull off no matter what I try. He said, you've been shackled by your disobedience. Allah hasn't chosen you because of the lack of pleasure He has with you. Even another time, Sufyan al-Thawri, he said, I was deprived, حُرِمْتُ قِيَامَ اللَّيْلِ بِذَنْبٍ أَذْنَبْتُهُ سِتَّةَ أَشْهُرٍ. I was deprived, held back from my Qiyamul Layl for 6 months because of a sin that I committed. I wasn't allowed to pray Qiyamul Layl. Look at how he's speaking about it. I wasn't allowed. I didn't qualify. And perhaps he said, if this was also Sufyan, it's because at one time I saw a man crying and I said he's showing off. I said mura'i. He's just acting like he's so sincere and moved by the ayat and ahadith, by the Quran and the Sunnah. And even Abu Ja'far, the Khalifa, when he went to one of the great scholars of his time, Ahmad ibn Yahya, and he found him crying, he said to him, why? He said, I didn't pray Qiyamul Layl last night. He said, it's no big deal. Allah wanted you to rest. And this is true because the Prophet ﷺ said to us, when you intend Qiyamul Layl and you don't get up, this is your ajr. You got your reward because you tried your best. And this rest was sadaqatan minhu alayk, a charity. Allah gave you a freebie. A charity from Allah on you. So he told him Allah wanted you to rest. He said, no, not me. I don't get that stuff. I'm not worthy to get those freebies. I'm not sincere enough. He felt he was more resembling or deserving of the category that Allah spoke about in the Quran when He said, وَلَكِنْ كَرِهَ اللَّهُمْ بِعَاثَهُمْ فَثَبَّطَهُم. Allah hated to see them go forward, so He kept them down. Referring to the hypocrites that Allah disinterested them from going out with the Prophet ﷺ in the Muslim army. And so they saw it as a privilege. Allah chooses who comes out and who doesn't. And you can see it from another angle as well. Night time is what? It's a time when people stop acting, stop performing. They resign and they sign off from their daily tasks to the things they like, to their pleasures. Whether it's physical pleasure like sleep or intimacy, or it's emotional pleasures, the things that give them a high, like fancy dinners or dating is done at night for that same reason. People even are more emotional at night, or watching movies, or watching sports, or whatever it is. So this is our human nature. Islam capitalizes on this nature of ours and says, this night, where you're heightened spiritually, where you're heightened emotionally, where you seek pleasure more, this is the perfect place for you to devote yourself to Allah, because the believer really is who? وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَشَدُّ حُبًّا لِلَّهِ. The believer is someone that has more intense love for Allah than anything else. And so think about it. We give our lives, a part of our lives to school, part of our lives to work, part of our lives just to leisure. Now all of that is fine. But doesn't Allah Azza wa Jal deserve a part of our life to be dedicated to Him? And so when Allah allows someone to stand at night, this is a sharaf, that he's the only person that got it right. He's the only person that understood how best and how pleasurable this conversation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to be. And so them realizing this is a sharaf. It's an honor, because very few people do. And them acting on this is a sharaf, that Allah chose them for. It's an honor. That they're not oblivious to this and what exists here. The chance to connect with Allah, be given very special gifts by Allah, have my dua answered from Allah. That's all there. But Allah only honors a few to realize, and even fewer to act on that. The Prophet ﷺ, he said to us, مَنْ قَامَ مِنَ اللَّيْلِ بِعَشْرِ آيَاتٍ لَمْ يُكْتَبْ مِنَ الْغَافِلِينَ. Whomever gets up at night and prays with 10 ayat even. Al-Fatiha 7 ayat. So Al-Fatiha إِنَّا أَعْطَيْنَاكَ الْكَوْثَرَ is 10 ayat. Whomever has the sense, the tawfiq, the divine grace from Allah, to do that at night. By the way, at night could be even right after Isha, or right before Fajr, momentary. Whoever can do this will not be written with Allah among the heedless. You're not of those that are going to be heedless in your dunya on your way to your akhirah. As for those who don't, they will become heedless. A person can say, does that mean it's haram not to pray Qiyam al-Layl? Is it mandatory to pray the night prayers if they're worth so much? The answer is no. Technically it's not. Technically it's not mandatory. Okay, if it's not mandatory, then why should I feel so stressed about not doing it? Why should I feel a burden on myself unnecessarily when it's not necessary? And that's a good question that you need to answer for yourself. Why should I do this to myself? Some people, many people come to the mashayikh or their imams, or they suffer from having a dip in their iman. They suffer from like a weakness in their faith, and they can't fully understand why. Say, I'm doing what's obligatory, like I'm praying my 5. Are you really praying your 5? You're not really praying your 5. Second of all, on top of praying your 5, you're committing other sins as well that are tearing you down. And so Qiyamul Layl is for you, your chance each night to wash away all this, to snap out of all this. See, yes, you are praying your 5, it's true. But your 5 in the bustle of the day, in the chaos, in the rat race as they call it, in the grind of the day, is not fully, you're offering something, but you're not offering the 5 as they should be offered. And so they're not giving you all that you're supposed to be getting from them. And then you add on top of it the fact that you do so many things, aside from negligence in the 5, that just a pile-on of disobedience throughout your day. You looked here, and you said that, and you did this, and you didn't do that. That's why when they asked one of the wise men, I don't even know if he was a scholar or not, he told him, listen, I can't get myself to pray Qiyamul Layl. It's a burden, it's heavy. Qiyamul Layl, it's not the 5 obligatory prayers, that's it. He said, okay, listen, don't sin during the daytime and don't pray Qiyamul Layl. It will be even. You prayed your 5, there's no minus or plus, you're okay. But is that really the case? It certainly isn't. And if you notice, the Sahaba Radwanullahi alayhim, Qiyamul Layl was in essence obligatory on them. Even if it was reduced, they still did not forget why it was made obligatory and the time in which it was made obligatory for their own sake. And if we would understand the ayat about Qiyam, we would look at them completely different. So Allah Azza wa Jalla, at the onset of Islam, He says what? Ya ayyuhal muzammil, O you who was wrapped up. Our Prophet ﷺ was very traumatized by the experience and traumatized by the mission that he's about to embark on of prophethood. And the backlash he's about to get when he comes out with this. Allah says, O you who is wrapped up, who's trying to contain himself, قُمِ اللَّيْلِ, get up and pray at night. The whole night. إِلَّا قَلِيلًا, except for a little bit. How much? نِصْفَهُ, half of the night. أَوْ إِنْقُصْ مِنْهُ قَلِيلًا, or take a little less than that, little less than half. Like a third of the night. أَوْ زِدْ عَلَيْهِ, or do a little more. If you have it, then you do a little more, meaning than half. وَرَتِّلِ الْقُرْآنَ تَرْتِيلًا, and pray and recite the Qur'an in slow rhythmic tones, slowly. Why? إِنَّا سَنُلْقِي عَلَيْكَ قَوْلًا ثَقِيلًا, we are about to reveal to you a very heavy statement, a very weighty burden. This revelation and the mission is something very heavy. And there's nothing that's going to prepare you for that than doing this. Then reciting the Qur'an slowly. إِنَّ نَاشِئَةَ اللَّيْلِ أَشَدُّ وَطْئًا وَأَقْوَمُ قِيلًا. Then Allah says, because the hours of the night are أَشَدُّ وَطْئًا. أَشَدُّ وَطْئًا means more effective. What means for things to overlap. So it's more effective in there being concurrence, reinforcement of what? Of what you're saying and what you're believing. Because even if you pray your 5 during the day, when you say Subhana Rabbi al-Azim, when you say Subhana Rabbi al-A'la, there's usually not much concurrence in most of us between what we're saying and how we're feeling. And that's why we wind up in the day saying, why did this happen to me? Why did that happen to me? What am I going to do about this? But you're repeating throughout your day, Subhana Rabbi al-Azim, glorified is Allah. Perfect in every way. He's in full. That there's no concurrence there. And so He's telling you when the lights go out and people stop moving and the noises calm down, and there's أَشَدُّ وَطْئًا وَأَقْوَمُ قِيلًا, and it's more upright for these words. These words that you're saying, they become more meaningful to you. إِنَّ لَكَ فِي النَّهَارِ سَبْحًا طَوِيلًا. He says, because you have in the daytime a long preoccupation. You know, sabahan, sibaha in Arabic is what? Swimming. Sabahan, it's like as if you're drowning in your day for so many hours. If you don't have the proper kind of downtime using Qiyamul Layl, you're going to drown. You're going to become heedless. This is the meaning of the Prophet ﷺ telling you 10 ayat even. But in Qiyamul Layl mode, in a completely different atmosphere, will do so much for you. And Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, he says the Sahaba all understood this. To the point that there is not a single Sahabi, imagine a whole generation like this. If we want to evaluate the state of the Ummah and when is help coming from above, and
he says there is no Sahabi except that he had a certain portion of the night. Some had less, some had more. That's expected, that's known. We have different lives, different commitments. And so there was a certain portion of the night in every Sahabi's schedule. Every single one of them. And if you think that Qiyamul Layl is Sharaful Mu'min, the honor of the believer, what happens when all of a generation are doing it? You find the most honorable generation, don't you? To the point that Abu Hurairah, and this hadith is particularly interesting because in Sahih al-Bukhari, Abu Uthman says, تضيفت أبا هريرة سبعا فكان هو وامرأته وخادمه يعتقبون الليل أثلاثا يصلي هذا ثم يوقظ هذا. He says, I spent 7 days, Abu Uthman, in the house of Abu Hurairah, radiallahu anhu. And I found him and his wife and his servant, they used to split the night into thirds and exchange shifts. One would pray and then he would wake the next person up. Abu Hurairah himself, radiallahu anhu, says, I promised the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to never go to sleep before I prayed my witr, the end of my night prayers. And this is very interesting because the Sahaba all knew that the Prophet ﷺ said the best way to pray Qiyamul Layl, ideally, is to sleep, is to pray like Dawood alayhi salam did. كان ينام نصف الليل ثم يقوم ثلثه ثم ينام سدسه. He used to sleep for half the night and then pray for a third and then sleep for the last sixth of the night. Abu Hurairah knew this, but he would pray the beginning of the night. Why? They said he would pray this way early on and pray his witr early on out of fear that he would not get up. Meaning if you're not going to do it in the most ideal fashion, if you're not going to get it all, don't miss out on it all. That should not be an option for us. Even if you cannot get a minimum each night, and we can all pray witr, you can set your Friday night up. You can set your Saturday night up to start with Qiyamul Layl. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله العظيم لي ولكم. الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعد أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ونبيه ورسوله. In Sunan Abi Dawood, Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu said also that we heard the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam say, رحم الله رجلا قام من الليل فصلى ثم أيقظ أهله فإن أبت نضح في وجهها الماء ورحم الله امرأة قامت من الليل فصلت ثم أيقظت زوجها فإن أبى نضحت في وجهه الماء. May Allah's mercy be upon a man who gets up and prays for a portion of the night and then wakes up his wife, and if she refuses, he sprinkles some water in her face. And may Allah have mercy upon a woman that gets up and prays at night, then wakes up her husband, and if he refuses, she sprinkles some water in his face. Can you imagine two people that have agreed, obviously this is going to happen beforehand, to agree that we want to pray Qiyamul Layl, and if I don't get up, wake me up, sprinkle some water, do something, massage me, do something. Can you imagine a husband and a wife agreeing on goals like this together and not getting that dua from the Prophet ﷺ, Rahimallahu rajulan, Allah's mercy descending upon him and his wife and his family? Can you imagine there being marital problems for petty reasons after this happens? Can you imagine there being children's problems from someone who behaves like Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, wakes up his family little by little? You know, many a times, and I've said this to you before, some of the great hifd teachers say, whenever I ask a student that completed hifd, do your parents pray Qiyamul Layl? I always find it true. That's the secret. That's the pattern I've always found. You know, many a times we raise our kids so well, but there are certain things that we're blind to. We can't see it. Some of our kids are so intelligent. Some of the parents are just so busy that the kid can live double lives and you catch it all the way in the end. You thought you raised him so well. But someone that prays Qiyamul Layl and institutes that with themselves and with their family, they will not suffer this. 99% of the time, if not even more, they will not suffer these things. When the family is together like this on that. Lastly, and I only have 2 minutes left, share with you a personal story. About 3 years ago, could have been 4, when I used to visit your city, now our city, here in Allentown, there was a brother who attended our spring conference, who was not Muslim, and we took him out, me and another speaker, our good brother Ammar al-Shakri. And we sat in McDonald's, long story short, it was 11 at night, and he said, you Muslims, you guys pray 5 times a day? And so Ammar kind of jumped in, and he gave him an excellent perspective that I want to share with you about Qiyam al-Layl. He said to him, bro, we don't pray 5 times a day. We pray more than that. We only have to pray 5. Once you start praying, you'll realize that this that you're looking at it from the outside as a burden, from the inside, it's a privilege. And so I can tell you here now, Allah Azza wa Jal has promised that He comes down in the last third of the night, every single night. There is no glimmer of doubt, there is no shade of doubt regarding the authenticity of this, and that our Prophet ﷺ said this. And he says, هَلْ مِنْ سَائِلٍ فَأُعْطِيَهُ. Is there anyone asking so I may give them? هَلْ مِنْ مُسْتَغْفِرٍ فَأَغْفِرُ لَهُ. Anyone seeking forgiveness, I'll forgive them. Just ask me, right here, right now. I can tell you all of these things, but at the end of the day, I'm asking you something else. What are you going to do after the khutbah? Be gradual, but make the promise be right now. I'm going to start praying Qiyam al-Layl, even in the tiniest fraction of my week, I'll do it. I'm going to start with Inna A'tainaka al-Kawthar. I'll do it before I sleep, not in the ideal form in the middle of the night. What are you going to do now? All of that is right in front of you. All of that is at your disposal. And remember that Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam, he said, after explaining the grave, he connected it with this. You standing in the dark will fill your grave with light. You standing firm in Qiyam and being consistent will make you firm on that path crossing the hellfire. For you and your families. So make the determination now. Make the decision right now. Wallahi, you may find out that one night made the difference. Once you actually started, one night made all the difference. When we got to the other side of the bridge, when we got to the akhirah and survival was at stake, levels for eternity were being distributed. May Allah make us and you of those who enjoy His company at night more than we enjoy the company of people during the day. May Allah Azza wa Jal help us stand in front of Him with dignity and be of those that are entitled to standing in front of Him in tahajjud and qiyam al-layl. May Allah Azza wa Jal forgive us for the sins that keep us down, and may Allah Azza wa Jal make us interested enough to want to engage with Him and taste conversation with Him every single night before we leave this dunya. Allahumma ameen. Allahumma ighfir lana warhamna. اللهم اغفر لنا وارحمنا اللهم اغفر لنا وارحمنا أعنا على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك ربنا اجعلنا مقيمي الصلاة ومن ذرارينا ربنا اغفر لنا ولوالدينا رب ارحمهم كما ربونا صغارا رب ارحمهم كما ربونا صغارا اغفر اللهم للمسلمين والمسلمات اغفر اللهم للمسلمين والمسلمات واشف كل مريض مسلم وعاف كل مبتلى مسلم يا جبار يا كريم وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.